Hello students, today I will talk about isomerism. In our last videos, we have talked about RS nomenclature for some simple compounds and for some more complex structure. So starting with our first part, isomerism. So what are isomers and what is this phenomenon? So the compounds which have same molecular formula okay, but differ from each other in physical or chemical properties are called isomers. So same molecular formula but differ in physical or chemical properties. So such things are called isomers. And the phenomenon is called isomerism. So this phenomena is called isomerism. So in organic chemistry, we came across many cases when two or more compounds consist of equal number of like atoms. For that time, we need to understand the phenomenon called isomerism. Since isomer have same molecular formula, but their properties are different because of different modes of combinations or arrangement of the atom within the molecules. So these isomerism are divided into two types. One type is structural and another is stereoisomerism. Okay. So moving on to our first part, that is structural isomerism. Now, structural isomerism are of different parts. First is chain isomerism. Next is position isomerism. Then functional. Next is metamerism. And tautomerism. So we will discuss all those things little briefly. So chain isomerism is also called nuclear isomerism. Okay. Now we move to first part, that is chain isomerism. Okay. So before coming to chain isomerism, let me say that in case of structural isomerism, the compounds have same molecular formula but different structural arrangement. The structural formula will be different, but the molecule will have the same molecular formula. For that, first part is chain isomerism. If we talk about chain isomerism, let us take two examples like N-butane and isobutane. So if we take N-butane, its formula is CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. But isobutane is CH3, CH, CH3, CH3. So if we see in both cases, sorry, this is CH3. So if we see in both cases, what happens? The formula is same, okay, but the arrangement of those molecules or the carbon atoms, that arrangement is different. So such type of isomerism is called chain isomerism. You can take many other examples, like another is CH3, CH2, CH, CH3, CH3. So this is 2-methyl butane. 2-methyl butane. So how many carbon is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So C5, H, 3 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we take another one, CH3, CH3, CH3. This is CH3. So this is called 2,2-dimethyl propane. So same, how many carbon atom is there? C5, H12. So this is chain isomerism. Next we will talk about number 2 is position isomerism. So number 2 is position isomerism. So in this isomerism, what happens actually? They have same molecular formula, but the position of the functional group is different. Position of the functional group on the carbon atom is different. So let us take an example of CH3, CH2, 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 Br. This is 1-bromobutane. Similarly, we have to change the position of this functional group. CH3, CH, Br, CH2, CH3. So this is 2-bromobutane. So we can easily see that position of the functional group is changed. Similarly, we can take another example of N-propyl alcohol, CH3, CH2, CH2, OH. So this is N-propyl alcohol. We can take CH3, CH, OH and CH3. This is isopropyl alcohol. So the position of OH group is changed. So such type of isomerism is called position isomerism. Now number 3 is functional isomerism. So what does this isomerism actually means? Let us take an example of ethyl alcohol, CH3, CH2OH and dimethyl ether. So we can see this is OH, another functional group, and this is O, another functional group. So molecular formula is same, but they have got different type of functional group. So we can take another example like acetone, and we can take aldehyde. So this is acetone, ketone, and this is aldehyde. This is propionaldehyde and this is acetone. We can see that when there is a change a functional group. This is called functional isomerism. Similarly, number 4 is metamerism. So what is metamerism? So this type of isomerism is due to unequal distribution of the carbon atom. Unequal distribution of carbon atoms on either side of the functional group. So when there is unequal distribution of the carbon atoms on the functional groups, then it becomes metamerism. For example, if we take like diethyl ether and methyl proper ether, we can take this example and we can show you what is actually metamerism. So let us take this example: diethyl ether CH3 CH2O CH2 CH3. So this is diethyl ether. So this is this thing, and we take CH3O CH2 CH2 CH3. So this is also isomer where 1, 2, 3 carbon atom is one side and another carbon atom is on other side. So this is called methyl propyl ether. So such type of isomerism is called metamerism. Last is tautomerism. So what is tautomers or tautomerism? It is actually a special type of functional isomerism in which the isomers are there in dynamic equilibrium with each other. That is, if we take any form like ethyl acetoacetate, we can see that it exists in equilibrium state in two parts. One is keto form, another is enol form. Although keto form percentage is 93%, whereas enol form percentage is very less, like 6%. So let us take the example CH3 C double bond O CH2 COO C2H5. So it is in equilibrium with another part, that is CH3 COH double bond CH COO C2H5. So this is keto form, which is 90, more than 90% or 93% you can say. And okay, let me use 93%, and it is almost 6% or 7%. So this is called enol form. So such type of isomerism is called tautomerism. Now we move about to the configurational isomers, or you can talk about one second. So configurational isomerism. So what is configurational isomerism? It is the arrangement of the atoms or the groups in space. So when this is called configuration. So if we take a carbon atom like this, and when it is A, Z, B and Y. So this straight line, what does this straight line depicts? This straight line, it represents bond in the plane of paper, in the plane of paper. So this is this. Now if we talk about this thing, what does this represent? So it represents bond behind the plane of paper. So this represents the bond behind the plane of paper, and this represents bond above the plane of paper. So there are in, behind and above. So we should remember it in this way. So this thing is on the paper or in the paper. This thing is behind. We have to think it behind our plane of paper, and it is above the plane. So I can in the ball and stick model, it can be easily depicted actually, but since we don't have that facility, I am showing you in this way. Now we will talk about the concept of chirality. So let me start with concept of chirality. So you have read about chiral substance. So this chiral, the word chiral, it comes from a Greek word care, which means handness. It means like handness. So it is a Greek word. Okay. So what does this chiral, these two words come into the phenomenon? So what is chiral? Any object that is non-superimposable on its mirror image is called chiral compound. So this non-superimposable mirror image should be there. Again, it should be like unsymmetrical. That non-superimposable mirror image should be unsymmetrical. Like if you take our hand, hand is an best example of non-superimposable mirror image. Okay. Now we talk about achiral. So it will be superimposable, first point, to the mirror image. Now you should be known that what does superimposable word means. It means that exactly overlaps its image. Exactly overlaps its image. It is superimposable. But when it is non-superimposable, like our hand, it is non-superimposable. When we talk about in the when we take our image in the mirror, we can see it is non-superimposable. But in case of achirality, it should be superimposable, that is exactly overlapping its image, and it should be symmetrical. So like example, you can take a ball, a chair, a cup, a ladder, our nose. These are all achiral because they have got a plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry is there. So it is achiral. So the concept of chirality or asymmetry has been developed in us. So we can move over to a part in chirality, that is stereogenic center or chiral center we used to say, or asymmetric center. So stereogenic center. So if we talk about stereogenic center, let us take a let it be like that. So this carbon is called stereocenter because it has got three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different atoms. So a compound or a molecule which is having 4 different kinds of atoms is called chiral, and that center is called chiral center or asymmetric center or stereocenter or stereogenic center. So a molecule to be chiral should not consist of any plane of symmetry. Now if we take a mirror image, if it is a mirror, if we take a mirror image, we can see this compound is like that. Cl, F, iodine, and this. So this is a mirror. So this is stereoisomers. So this and this 1 and 2 are stereoisomers because they are forming non-superimposable mirror image, and also there are an asymmetric carbon atom. So such type of stereoisomers 1 and 2 are called as enantiomers. So the stereoisomers of a compound which are non-superimposable mirror image to each other are called enantiomer, and those molecules with one stereogenic centers generally exist as enantiomeric forms. So moving on to enantiomers, we can see, we can take any compound like the compound we have talked. So a mirror is there. So this is enantiomers. These two parts are enantiomers. That is, it rotates the optical activity, the optics, to a direction. So it rotates the polarimeter to a direction which can be positive, which can be negative. So such isomers are called, or such stereoisomers are called enantiomers. Again we can come over to a term called distereomers. So what are distereomers? So the stereoisomers of a compound which are not mirror image. to each other. So we need to understand they are mirror image to each other. In enantiomer, they are mirror image each other. Okay, they should be mirror image to each other. But in distereomers, these are not mirror image to each other, and such compounds which have one or two stereoisomers or stereogenic centers are generally stereoisomers. So we will talk about those stereoisomers and with an example where there is a 4 compound to both are enantiomers, but again we can see some of them are diastereomers. So we have learned the term like chirality, chiral, stereogenic centers, enantiomers, diastereomers, plane of symmetry. So these terms are very important. 1 and 2 terms are much more there, like meso compounds. So what are meso compounds? So the compounds having stereogenic center. Meso compound will have stereogenic or chiral centers, but they are optically inactive, and these optical inactivity, this is due to internal compensation. So this is due to internal compensation which makes that meso compound optically inactive. So internally compensation means in meso compound there will be plane of symmetry. So because of that plane of symmetry, So let us take an example of meso compound having plane of symmetry. So moving over to this. So this is a plane of symmetry. So for that reason, meso compound is optically inactive, and this is because of the internal compensation which makes them optically inactive. So plane of symmetry makes this compound optically inactive, although it have two stereogenic center. So these things must be. Now in case of this is tartaric acid, okay, this is tartaric acid, but there are 3 or more forms of tartaric acid which shows that they are also optically active and are enantiomers. Even there is another term called racemic modification. So what is racemic modification or racemic mixture? The compounds having the equimolar mixture of the compound having equimolecular mixture. So equimolecular mixture of anything, like if you take tartaric acid only, if we take this tartaric acid and if it does not rotate the plane of polarized light, it becomes optically inactive, and this is because of the presence of D and L form of these tartaric acid. Okay, now just take an example. If we take tartaric acid, it has got D form, it has got L form. Okay, Now these D and L form, if we have this in mixture part, mixture form, this is called racemic mixture, and this racemic mixture, they do not rotate the plane of polarized light. Because of external compensation, and these external compensation is because D part or the positive part, it neutralizes the L part or the negative part. Since it neutralizes, so it becomes optically inactive. So these are few of the terms which should be remembered in stereochemistry or in isomerism. We need to be much more acquainted with those terms. Now we will talk about the resolution. So what is resolution? See, we are talking about racemic mixture, and when this racemic mixture cannot be separated by ordinary methods like distillation, crystallization or chromatography, there is another process by which that can be separated, which is called resolution. So, the process of separation of enantiomer from a racemic mixture is known as resolution. Okay, but in case of diastereomers, they exhibit a different physical properties, and thus those can be separated by means of crystallization, and from where we can easily get the enantiomers. Okay, so these are part. Now we will move to our next part, which is the stereoisomers, that is geometrical isomerism and optical isomerism I have talked. Now we will talk about the geometrical isomerism.